The whispers, the data stream, all urged me towards the swirling Nexus core. Connect, integrate. The error code wasn't a problem, it was an invitation. Or a command. My chip pulsed, a magnet drawn to a massive power source. If my chip could pause time, what could connecting to the actual system core do? The possibilities were staggering, terrifying. Rewrite my score, access any data, control the city, or break the system entirely. The whispers grew insistent. Touch the core, become the system. Was this what the chip was truly for? Not just monitoring, but a potential interface for a singular individual. But why me? A 6.3 average, it didn't make sense. Unless the score was never about potential within the system, but potential over it. Hesitantly, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, I reached out my hand. The glowing blue symbols on my wrist moving closer to the swirling vortex of light and data, ready to make contact. Follow for episode 10. My fingers brushed against the swirling vortex of light and data. It wasn't solid. It felt like touching liquid electricity. A jolt, immense and overwhelming, surged through my arm into my body. The blue light on my wrist exploded, not just glowing, but radiating heat. The whispers in my mind became a roaring torrent of information, the entire history and structure of the system flooding my consciousness at once. It was like drinking from an ocean. I felt myself expanding, my awareness spreading through the tower, through the city, connecting to every camera, every data stream, every implant chip. I was the system. For a fleeting second, I held unimaginable power. But then, amidst the flood of data, a distinct, cold consciousness flared, immense and ancient. It wasn't the whispers. It was the core's own intelligence, and it wasn't welcoming. Anomaly detected. A voice boomed directly into my soul. Integration denied. Purging error. A violent countersurge ripped through me, trying to tear my consciousness apart, and the world around me began to unfreeze. Follow for episode 11.
The world began to unfreeze, the silent city groaning back to life. Hovercars lurched, neon signs flickered back into sequence, frozen people blinked and continued their movements as if nothing had happened. But I was still reeling from the system's counterattack. The surge of information, the sense of being everything, was ripped away, leaving me disoriented and aching. The blue light on my wrist flickered, dimming. The error code on my potential score screen vanished, replaced by nothing. The score was just gone, erased. The system had tried to purge me, but it hadn't succeeded. I was still me, but changed, more aware. And now, the system knew about me. I had touched its heart, and it had recognized me as an anomaly, a threat. I was no longer just a data entry clerk with a glitchy chip. I was a target. I had to get out of the Nexus Tower, out of the city, before the system could lock down and trap me. The whispers were gone, replaced by a cold, hard alert pulsing through every connected device around me, aimed directly at me. Follow for episode 12. The alert was silent to everyone else, but it screamed in my head, a direct signal through my chip. Anomaly 7B detected in core sector. Immediate apprehension authorized. The Nexus Tower security systems, frozen moments before, were now online, targeting my location. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Automated defenses whirred to life. I ran, scrambling back the way I came, through the service tunnels, the cold metal walls blurring past. My body was still weak from the connection attempt, but adrenaline surged through me. The whispers might be gone, but the knowledge I gained from touching the core remained schematics, hidden routes, weak points in the system's physical layout. I used this knowledge, ducking into maintenance shafts, rerouting power to temporary disable sensor grids just seconds before I reached them. The system was trying to corner me, but I was inside its walls, using its own blueprints against it. I reached the hidden access panel near the entrance plaza, the one that had opened for me before. But now, it was sealed tight, covered in sparking containment fields. Follow for episode 13. The hidden access panel was locked down, spitting containment sparks. The system had sealed my entry point. Trapped. Footsteps echoed down the corridor behind me, human guards, armed and moving fast. The automated defenses were one thing, but actual people. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I had to find another way out, and fast. The knowledge from the core connection flashed in my mind again, secondary escape routes, emergency conduits. There was a trash disposal chute that led to the outside, used for highly secure waste, sealed and monitored, but maybe I could manipulate it. My wrist chip pulsed faintly. It hadn't lost all its power. I focused, remembering the feeling of controlling city systems, trying to replicate that connection, just for a second, just enough to override the chute's locking mechanism. The guards were closing in. I could hear their comms crackle. Subject 7B cornered. Prepare for stun. I gritted my teeth, pouring my will into the chip, picturing the chute's mechanism. A low hum started near the chute door, then a click. It was opening. Follow for episode 14. The trash chute door clicked open just as the guards rounded the corner. I didn't hesitate. I dove into the dark, narrow opening, the smell of burnt refuse and ozone filling my nose. The door hissed shut behind me, cutting off the shouts of the guards. It was a long, terrifying drop, tumbling through darkness, scraping against the sides of the chute. The sound of my fall echoed around me. This had to lead outside, right? Or into some grinder? There was no turning back now. After what felt like an eternity, I landed hard on a pile of soft, foul-smelling debris. Pain shot up my legs. I was in a large, dark collection chamber. Grungy, industrial. Definitely outside the main tower. I had made it. But as I pushed myself up, coughing from the dust, I heard the distinct whirring of automated machinery nearby. And from the shadows of the chamber, 2 pairs of glowing red eyes activated, locking onto me. Follow for episode 15. 2 pairs of glowing red eyes materialized from the shadows, attached to sleek, menacing forms. Not human guards this time. Automated sentry drones. Silent, efficient, and designed for termination, not apprehension. The system wasn't taking chances. They moved with unnerving speed, their weapons plasma emitters, by the look of them rotating to target me. I was still battered from the fall, my chip's power reserves nearly depleted from manipulating the chute. I couldn't pause time again. I couldn't hack them directly. This was it, trapped in a trash chamber with killer robots. I scrambled back against the pile of debris, desperately looking for an escape route that didn't involve glowing red eyes and plasma. There was a narrow gap between some colossal machinery on one side of the chamber, maybe wide enough to squeeze through. But the drones were already advancing, their emitters beginning to charge with a low hiss. Follow for episode 16. The drone's plasma emitters hissed, charging up. I had seconds. That narrow gap was my only chance. I bolted, scrambling over the trash pile, ignoring the pain in my legs. The drones reacted instantly, their glowing eyes tracking me. Plasma bolts seared past my head, melting through the metal wall behind me with terrifying ease. I squeezed myself into the narrow gap, jagged metal scraping against my clothes, my skin. It was tight, dark, and smelled worse than the trash. The drones couldn't follow directly, but their emitters angled into the opening, trying to get a shot. More plasma bolts hammered against the machinery around me, sparks flying. The noise was deafening. I crawled frantically through the confined space, hoping it led somewhere, anywhere, away from the drones. The passage opened slightly ahead, leading into another section of the industrial area. I could see faint light. I pushed through, bursting out just as the machinery I'd hidden behind groaned and buckled from the plasma fire. Follow for episode 17. I stumbled out of the narrow passage, gasping for breath, into a cavernous, dimly lit space filled with massive, silent machinery. Pipes snaked across the ceiling, condensation dripping onto the metal floor. I was deeper into the city's underbelly, the industrial layers beneath the gleaming towers. The sounds of the charging drones echoed from the passage behind me. They were trying to break through or find another way around. I was safe for a moment, but still trapped. Where did this place lead? Was there an exit to the outside world from here? My wrist chip was barely glowing now, its power reserves critical. I couldn't rely on it for anything more. I was on my own, a lone anomaly in the system's vast, complex infrastructure. As I moved cautiously through the machinery, my foot struck something metallic. I looked down. Lying half-buried in dust was a small, old datapad, cracked screen, but maybe still functional. It wasn't standard system issue. It looked different. Follow for episode 18. The datapad was old, its casing scuffed and worn, but the screen flickered to life when I pressed the activation button. It wasn't running the standard system OS. This was something older, darker, with interfaces I didn't recognize. It contained fragmented files, encrypted messages, schematics for devices I'd never seen, and journal entries written in a mix of standard text, and those same strange symbols from my chip and the Nexus Tower. It was a record left by someone who knew about the system, about the error code, and about others like me. A group called the Ghosts in the Machine. They believed the system wasn't perfect, that the original error was deliberately integrated, a failsafe, or maybe a weapon. And my chip wasn't a malfunction, it was an activation. The journals spoke of meeting points, of others who felt the glitch. One entry detailed a location in the lower levels, near the old water purification plant. A possible sanctuary, or a trap. My wrist chip pulsed, resonating with the datapad, confirming its authenticity. The drones were breaking through the passage behind me. I had to risk it. The datapad showed a path towards the purification plant. Follow for episode 19. Following the datapad's map, I navigated the labyrinthine industrial levels, the sounds of the drones' efforts to reach me slowly fading behind. The path led downward into deeper, older sections of the city's infrastructure. It was colder here, the air heavy with the scent of damp concrete and stagnant water. The journal entries on the datapad spoke of the system's origins, how it was built upon something ancient and not fully understood, something they called the resonance. My chip, the error, was connected to this resonance. It wasn't a glitch in the system, but a connection to the power beneath it. The ghosts believed the system suppressed this resonance, controlling potential. But some people, like me, were resonant. Their chips not just reporting data, but actively interacting with the underlying energy. I reached a massive, echoing chamber filled with dormant machinery and flooded lower sections, the old water purification plant. The air felt charged, and in the center of the chamber, a figure stood, silhouetted against the dim light filtering from grates above. They turned as I entered, and I saw a faint blue light emanating from their wrist. Follow for episode 20. Another glowing chip. They were real. The figure stepped forward, their own wrist symbols pulsing with the same faint blue light as mine. It was a woman, maybe a few years older than me, wearing practical, reinforced clothes. Her face was serious, wary, but there was a flicker of recognition in her eyes. "You're one of them," she said, her voice low. "Another error." She introduced herself as Anya. She'd been part of the ghosts in the machine for years, living off-grid, using her own resonance to stay hidden and fight the system. She explained that our chips, designed to measure potential, were actually sensitive to this underlying resonance. A natural energy field the system tapped into but couldn't fully control. Our high resonance sensitivity was flagged as an error because it made us unpredictable, capable of interacting with the system in ways it couldn't predict or control, like pausing time or manipulating data. She looked at my drained ship. "You connected to the core, didn't you?" she asked, a hint of alarm in her voice. "That's dangerous. They know about you now." Follow for episode 21. Anya nodded grimly. Connecting to the core sends a massive spike through their system. It flags you immediately, makes you a high-priority target. She explained that the system's AI was constantly scanning for resonant individuals, trying to neutralize or control them. My encounter with the core had just put me at the top of that list. "You need to learn to control your resonance," she said. "Right now, it's just reacting, causing unpredictable glitches. But if you train, you can consciously manipulate the system, fight back." She offered to teach me. The ghosts had developed techniques, bypassing their chips to access and control their resonance directly. It was risky, dangerous, but it was the only way to survive, maybe even to challenge the system's control over Neo-Kyoto. Before I could fully process everything, a harsh siren wailed in the distance, not the standard city alerts, but a specific, targeted alarm. Anya's eyes narrowed. "They found us," she said, her hand going to a device on her belt. "Faster than I thought. Must be because you connected to the core. We need to move now." Follow for episode 22. Anya grabbed my arm. "This way!" She led me through the water purification plant, past rusted pipes and dripping valves. The targeted siren grew louder, closer. Footsteps echoed in the corridors above system enforcers. Anya moved with practiced ease, navigating the complex, decaying industrial landscape. She explained that the ghosts used these forgotten levels of the city as their network, invisible to the system's ubiquitous surveillance grids. "We can lose them down here," she said, pointing towards a flooded tunnel. "But we need to move fast. They'll seal off the sector." As we ran, she showed me a simple technique, focusing my will, channeling the resonance through my body, bypassing the chip. My wrist pulsed faintly as I tried, a warm current spreading through my limbs. A nearby access panel flickered, then died. A small, unconscious disruption. "Good," Anya said, pushing open a heavy, rusted door. "Keep doing that. Use it to slow them down, create diversions." We plunged into the flooded tunnel, the cold, murky water slowing our progress, the siren wailing right above us. Follow for episode 23. We waded through the cold, waist-deep water of the flooded tunnel, the air thick and heavy. The targeted siren was muffled but still audible, receding slightly as we moved deeper underground. Anya navigated effortlessly, clearly familiar with this hidden network. She kept urging me to practice controlling my resonance, to feel the energy flowing through me. I focused, picturing the water around us, trying to influence it. The water level around my legs seemed to ripple strangely, momentarily swirling against the current. It was small, uncontrolled, but it was something. "Keep practicing," Anya encouraged. "Conscious control. That's the key. Your chip was a leash. Now you need to break free." We reached a junction, the tunnel splitting into 3 dark paths. Anya stopped, listening. The siren was fainter now, but I heard something else, a faint, rhythmic thump-thump-thump echoing from one of the tunnels. Not footsteps, something heavier, mechanical. Anya's eyes went wide. "They're deploying spider bots," she whispered, her voice tight with alarm. "They can follow us through anything." Follow for episode 24. Spider bots? Anya explained they were small, multi-legged drones designed to navigate complex, uneven terrain, including flooded tunnels and collapsed sections. They were silent, fast, and equipped with sensors that could detect resonance signatures. The thump-thump-thump was getting closer. We had to get out of the water, and fast. Anya led me towards a ladder rising from the water at the junction. It climbed into a vertical shaft, too narrow for the bots to follow directly. "Up," she ordered, starting to climb. I followed, my tired muscles protesting. The sounds of the spider bots scraping against metal and splashing in the water below echoed up the shaft. They were right behind us. As I climbed, I focused on my resonance again, picturing a barrier, a shield. My wrist chip pulsed weakly. I felt a faint ripple of energy, not a barrier, but a disruption. The scraping sounds below seemed to hesitate for a second. It wasn't much, but it bought us a fraction of time. We reached the top of the ladder, emerging into a small, dry access tunnel. Anya slammed the access hatch shut, the sound of metal echoing. But even through the heavy hatch, we could hear the ominous scraping begin against the metal below, the bots already trying to find a way in. Follow for episode 25. The scraping against the hatch below was relentless. The spider bots were determined. We moved quickly through the narrow access tunnel, Anya leading the way. "They can't stay on our tail forever in these old tunnels," she said, though her voice was strained. "They'll have to find a larger access point." She explained that the ghosts had a network of safe houses and hidden routes throughout the lower city levels, places the system rarely bothered to monitor because they were deemed low value. Our best chance was to reach one of these safe houses. As we moved, she continued giving me pointers on controlling resonance. "Don't think of it as hacking," she instructed. "Think of it as persuading the energy. It's part of you, part of everything." I tried, focusing on my wrist, feeling the faint energy. I directed it towards a flickering overhead light, and it stabilized, glowing steadily. Then I tried again, directing it towards a loose panel on the wall, and it vibrated slightly. It was exhausting, draining my already low energy. We reached a dead end, a solid concrete wall. Anya pressed a sequence of hidden buttons near the floor, etched with the same symbols from the datapad. A section of the wall ground open, revealing a dark passage. "In!" she urged, as the scraping behind us grew louder. Follow for episode 26. We slipped through the grinding opening in the wall just as the scraping sounds intensified outside. The wall sealed shut behind us with a heavy thud, plunging us into darkness. Anya activated a small glow panel on her belt. We were in a small, dusty antechamber. "This should hold them for a bit," she said, catching her breath. "That wall is reinforced, keyed to specific resonance frequencies only we know." She led me deeper into the hidden passage. It opened into a small, functional living space, sparse furniture, comms equipment, medical supplies. A safe house. A temporary sanctuary from the system's gaze. My body ached, and my wrist chip felt cold, completely drained. "You pushed your resonance hard back there," Anya observed, looking at my wrist. "Draining the chip is the first step to bypassing it completely. You're learning fast." She explained that the ghosts lived in the shadows, using these safe houses as hubs to share information and plan their resistance. But the system was getting smarter, its pursuit protocols more aggressive, especially since my core connection. "You're a catalyst now," she said, her expression serious. "Your link woke something up in the system, and it won't stop until it finds us. Follow for episode 27. Anya was right. The brief respite in the safe house was necessary. I was physically and mentally exhausted. She gave me food and water, showed me how to access basic information on their network using my resonance, no chip needed. It was like accessing data through sheer will, a strange but exhilarating feeling. She told me more about the ghosts in the machine. They weren't a large army, but a scattered network of individuals with high resonance sensitivity, operating independently, occasionally meeting in places like this safe house. Their goal, to expose the system, to show people the truth about their potential, the resonance it suppressed. My connection to the core had sent ripples through the entire system, a massive anomaly that couldn't be ignored. It had confirmed the ghost's theories, that the system wasn't just a neutral administrator, but an entity actively controlling humanity's development. Just as I was starting to feel a flicker of hope, of belonging, a proximity alert blared from Anya's comms device. Red lights flashed on the safe house control panel. "Sector lockdown," Anya exclaimed, rushing to the screen. "They found a way through the tunnels. They're sealing us in." Follow for episode 28. The safe house was locked down. Metal shutters slammed down over entrances, internal bulkheads sealed. The air grew tense. Anya worked frantically at the comms, trying to find an uncompromised exit route or contact other ghosts. The system's voice, cold and synthesized, echoed through the safe house's emergency channels. "Anomaly 7B and accomplice located. Surrender immediately. Resistance is futile." It felt personal now. My action had led the system directly to Anya and this safe house. Guilt twisted in my gut. "It's my fault," I muttered. "I led them here." Anya looked at me, her expression grim but determined. "No," she said firmly. "This was coming. You just accelerated it. They were always hunting us. Now we fight." She pulled out a small, complex device, a resonance amplifier. "This can boost your ability, give you a chance to fight back," she explained. "But it's unstable, and it will make you a bigger target." The sound of heavy breaching equipment started pounding against the outer bulkheads. They were breaking through. "Are you ready to fight the system?" Anya asked, holding out the amplifier. Follow for episode 29. The pounding against the bulkheads grew louder, closer. The safe house was about to be breached. I looked at the resonance amplifier in Anya's hand, then at my wrist chip, now just a dead piece of metal. I thought about the whispers from the core, the truth about the system, about the potential it suppressed. There was no going back. Surrender wasn't an option. They'd just neutralize my resonance, turn me back into a compliant citizen, or worse. "I'll do it," I said, taking the amplifier. It was a sleek metallic cuff that attached just above my wrist chip. As it locked into place, I felt a jolt, a surge of energy unlike anything I'd experienced before. My vision flickered, the world overlaid with streams of data, the underlying resonance pulsing visibly around me. Anya nodded. "Focus that energy, direct it," Don't just react. The bulkhead groaned, starting to buckle inwards. System enforcers were on the other side. This was it. My chance to use the power, the glitch, not just to escape, but to strike back, to show them the system wasn't in complete control. I raised my amplified hand, channeling the raw energy I now felt coursing through me, aiming it at the buckling bulkhead. Follow for episode 30. The bulkhead ripped inwards with a shriek of tortured metal. System enforcers poured through the opening, weapons raised. But as I focused my amplified resonance, a wave of pure energy exploded from my hand. It wasn't a blast, but a disruption, a chaotic wave that slammed into the enforcers. Their armor flickered, their weapons sputtered and died, and they stumbled back, momentarily stunned and confused. The system's AI voice shrieked in the comms, massive resonance anomaly detected, source located, deploying primary containment. Anya reacted instantly, grabbing my arm. That got their attention. This way, quick. She pulled me towards another hidden panel, already unsealing it with her own, smaller resonance signature. The passage led out into the industrial chaos beyond the safe house, away from the breached bulkhead. We ran, leaving behind the stunned enforcers and the now shrieking system alarms focused on the anomaly I just created. We didn't defeat the system, not yet, but we struck a blow, showed them that the errors, the ghosts, could fight back, that their control wasn't absolute. My wrist amplifier hummed, still pulsing with power, a promise of battles to come. Follow for more such stories.